Congratulations, your kingdom has reached the season of conquest. A boatload of commanders have unlocked for you to be able to get them. And now you're in a little bit of a pickle because who on earth do you work on first? What kind of meta do you follow? What kind of situation can you get yourself into? Too many choices, too much to decide, and a very, very problematic system. I'll explain all that and much more in this video. So sit back, slap a like on the video, and let's go. Hey there, YouTube. Welcome back to Gekko Gaming. Yeah, we unlocked Nebu in the last stream, but I haven't even gotten him yet. We got some stuff to do with him, but that's not the point of this video. You have reached the season of conquest, and oh my goodness, everything's changed. Your Wheel of Fortune is no longer one type of commander, but rather choose them. You can choose whichever one you want. Your Mightiest Governor is not one type of commander anymore. To choose them as well. And to make matters worse, it's not like previously where you had 4 iterations of cavalry, infantry, archers, and then it rotated. Now you have cavalry, 2 weeks later, infantry, 2 weeks later, archers, 2 weeks later, leadership, and then again 2 weeks later, cavalry. What does that mean? It means that back in the day, you'd be able to get in 2 months 4 wheels of the same cavalry commander, which would mean if you spawn anything at all, then at the end of those 4 weeks, you could expertise that commander, and then you'd have to wait 8 weeks or 2 months until the next cavalry cycle. And that's how we previously worked. But now, you want to expertise a cavalry commander? Well, guess what? You're going to have to wait 2 months to get your second wheel going on. So instead of getting 2 months worth of a break and 2 months worth of, well, more than that, it would be like 4 months worth of a wait, 2 months of getting the commanders, 4 months worth of a wait, 2 months waiting for commanders, or well, backwards. You get my point. Now, you have a wheel and a Mightiest Governor happening every 2 months of the same type, which means if you want to get your commander's expertise in a sensible time, you're going to have to spend a lot more legendary commander sculptures than previously. This caused a conundrum because a person like me used to do one type of commander and then chill for 4 months, build up our sculptures, and 2 of that type of commander, we expertise in both, chill, and then maybe because we get more legendary commander sculptures than we needed throughout the chill time, we would expertise other side commanders. But now you got to figure out, based on a very, very aggressive spending plan, which commanders you want to work on. And the biggest issue of all of this is you can't wait. Because if you decide I want cavalries, but then you skip the infantries, and then after 2 sets of cavalry, you want to go for infantry, then you've already wasted 1 set of infantry in the first time. Essentially, every 2 weeks, you're going to have to work on something. Skipping wheels or skipping Mightiest Governors, per se, is not necessarily a thing that you can do anymore if you want to expertise commanders in a time-sensitive fashion. And so, yeah, there's no more save sculptures. Essentially, it's going to be continually keep going. Spin, 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 go, go, go. You cannot stop. You can't skip wheels. You can't do any of that because you're just wasting time. So, instead of telling you which commanders you should work on and in what order, I'm going to give you different pairs of commanders. Now, before we start really quickly, remember that in terms of Mightiest Governor, you got to pick one. But in terms of Wheel of Fortune, you don't have to spin for the same commander. You can spin 5 times for Commander 1, 5 times for Commander 2, and 5 times for Commander 3. You can literally change it throughout the wheel. You can also, for example, spin the spins for Commander A, B, C, Commander A, all 100 spins without taking the special rewards. You can change the commander and then take the special rewards of the second commander you changed to. Okay? So we're not working necessarily on one commander anymore unless you really want to. Here are the pairs of commanders that you should consider working on and their usability. And then at the end, I'll tell you which ones I think are the better ones in terms of the order in which you should work on. The first pair, we're going to go cavalry, infantry, archers, leadership, okay? And a couple of these commanders are going to be solos because, for example, in the infantry department, Zenobia is going to be one solo YOLO, but she's going to get a pair in the leadership department. So you'll see that. When it comes to cavalry, in terms of Season of Conquest commanders, I'm taking also in consideration that you followed my guide and you have a Saladin 5551 from the previous KVKs, okay? And so the pairs of commanders that are extremely relevant in Season of Conquest are Attila Takeda, of course, the biggest killing machine in the game. The most kills you'll ever get are from Untitled Chapter. The best, easiest way on Earth to get to 30 million kills in the KVK rewards is with Untitled Chapter on the field and leading rallies. I mean, Untitled Chapter is a kill machine, and even though it got countered and some of the rallies do negative trades and yada, 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 at the end of the day, take an Untitled Chapter player, take a non-Untitled Chapter player, put them both on the field and make them fight each other to 30 million kills. The Untitled Chapter player will destroy the non-Untitled Chapter player, because even when you get swarmed, you're going to do good. Even when you don't get swarmed, you're going to do good. There's very few situations in which Untitled Chapter doesn't get a huge amount of kills. Yes, not all trades are even, for the record, but you can get to a point where you're causing insane amounts of severely wounded to something that's supposed to counter Untitled Chapter. And yes, the trade is negative, but when it's very small margin of negativity, I think Untitled Chapter is still by far one of the most relevant and most important pairs as a cavalry player. Another very important pair is Saladin William. Now, here's the catch. Saladin comes out earlier, so you should already have him, and William is a Wheel of Fortune commander. So who do you get for a Mightiest Governor commander? That's none other than Chandragupta. You would go for Chandragupta while going for William. William can stop at 5551 and be a 5551 pair with Saladin. But Chandragupta, you definitely want expertise. Why? Because then you can have Chandragupta William rallies available. You have Chandragupta on standby for other usability, which will come next. And indeed, those are really, I mean, those are the pairs you want. And still, you want to get those two commanders, one to 5551, and the other one doesn't necessarily need. The final cavalry that you get is, of course, Jiang Yu. And once you have your Chandragupta expertise and your William at 5551, you can either expertise your William, which is completely fine. It's even better. But you really want Jiang Yu, which is a wheel commander, expertised. So you have the best meta for cavalry. And that's one way to go about it, okay? And that's Infantry cavalry department. We're going to do a mix review at the end, okay? For infantry, I'm assuming you have Alexander done, and therefore I would say that in the first Wheel of Fortune, you want to go for Guan Yu. You really want to focus on Guan Yu and expertise him. Over Mightiest Governor Commanders, over everything, because a Guan Yu Alex march is a great open field march, great rally march, and it's really one you want to have in your arsenal. It really is one you want to have in your arsenal. This account is completely different in its gameplay, but my jumper account does exactly this. It has William Saladin, it has Untitled Chapter, and Guan Alex, and now I'm working towards the next pair that I will explain to you guys momentarily in here. So you're spinning the wheel for Guan, but who are you going to go for for the Mightiest Governor? You have two options on that Mightiest Governor that are really important to think of. Number one, Zenobia, which you would then get and just put her on standby because she needs a secondary. And you're more than likely going to want to expertise her because of the garrison capabilities. The idea is to have a strong garrison pair, one good strong garrison pair in your game, in your arsenal. And the second option is to say, I will pair my Alexander with a Sun Tzu, with a Charles Martel, whatever it is, but I want to get Guan Leo, because Guan Leo, really good on the open field, really, really good in rallies. They're just as good as Guan Alex. However, Guan Leo has a little bit of different capabilities and different outcomes to specific scenarios. For example, rallying Zenobia with a Guan Leo has better outcome than a Guan Alex, for example. And so you really want to consider, do I want to go heavy aggressive infantry? If you do, I would probably take Leo. And if you don't, then I would probably take Zenobia just to have a good garrison for my city and or for also flags and stuff like that if you choose to go that route. From there, I don't know whether Herald is a good idea. Herald is decent, and if you're going to focus on infantry, then sure, he could be your next target. But I would say skip Herald altogether. I would definitely skip, what's his face? I would definitely skip, Edward Herald in this scenario. You have skipped your Constantine. You really don't care for him too much. And at that point, Zenobia becomes the Guan Leo and Zenobia become the only really thing that is important to keep an eye on. At least when it comes to infantry. I have not mentioned Jadwiga at all. The reason for that is that I don't think that she is relevant to 90% of players. Only garrison players might want to choose to pick her. And even I'm a garrison player who skipped Jadwiga in this scenario. When it comes to archers, the archers are pretty much must get in the order that they came out, which means you really want to get these two guys, Mightiest Governor and Wheel of Fortune, and then you really want to get at least Nebu. Now, who to focus on first? If you want to get the latest and greatest meta for archer rallies and open field unlocked early on, then you're going to want to focus on Ramses first and Artemisia second. If you have your YSG done and you are willing to sacrifice having the best rally available for a second rally that is just as good, then you can go ahead and you work on Artemisia. So you have Artemisia YSG for the open field. And then later on, you'll work on a Nebu, which would work with your either with your YSG essentially. And then you would take Artemisia and pair her with Tamaris, which you should have because I'm assuming you have the commanders from the last video. For archers, the Nebu, which comes next, is extremely useful. Cyrus is good too, but I would say that if you have to focus on anyone, I would focus on Nebu, and I would focus on either Ramses for a pair for Nebu or Artemisia as a pair for YSG for the open field, knowing that when Nebu comes, Nebu YSG is going to take over and Artemisia is going to swap to Tamaris. And so if you have the option to get both, I definitely would get these guys for sure. And then later on, the rest of the archers, not really necessary. Finally, the leadership tree. Obviously, there are a lot of good leadership commanders, but the problem here is that you need to consider Wheel of Fortune and Mightiest Governor as separate entities. And so for the Mightiest Governor, Theodora is definitely a must. I would not skip on Theodora at all. I would work on her and get her expertise. She's by far one of the best secondaries, if not the best secondary garrison commander, and a great primary as well. She has the best expertise when it comes to garrison in the game, which pretty much removes all buffs and debuffs and everything along the way. And so you definitely want to have her available. And if you do choose to get her and Zenobia, she's your secondary for your Zenobia, and you're done with a garrison march. That's it. Yi Sun-sin is great commander as well, but he's a wheel commander. And if you're going to have to pick between Yi Sun-sin and another commander from that wheel, I would probably take Trajan, which is the next commander I'm going to work on from that specific set of wheels. The reason for that is you have our Ethelflaed as part of your free-to-play legendary commander. And him as a primary for Ethelflaed is truly great. It's absolutely fantastic. And so I would skip Yi Sun-sin, get Theodora, and get Trajan. Have Theodora with Zenobia, and have Trajan with Ethelflaed. Unfortunately, I know I bombarded you with a lot of pairs and a lot of different things, but the unfortunate truth is that you're going to have to pick what do you want. There is no right or wrong. There is different approaches to the game. If you want to be very focused on cavalry, then you can focus on that cavalry. If you want to be focused more on having a diverse open field, you can do that by mix and matching, doing an Atel Takeda march, doing a Saladin William march, a Guan Yu Alex march, a Artemisia YSG march, and a Ramses Tamaris march, which then later on becomes Nebu Ramses march. And then you have a diverse set of pairs. If you want to go infantry cavalry, you can definitely do Saladin William, Attila Takeda, Zhang Yu Chandragupta, and then what's his face? Guan Yu Leo, Guan Yu Alex, and then even something like later on a Charles Martel Sun Tzu. Or if you work on your herald, then that herald involved in that shape or form. But then you have like a 3-2 scenario. If you want to do three infantries, then you need to work on your Leo, and then you can do Charles Martel Alex, Guan Leo, maybe like a herald with something. We need to think about it a little bit more. And then the cavalries would be Attila Takeda, Saladin William, a 5-5-5-1 pair, which is fairly cheap to get. You can literally get Saladin William for less than expertising a full legendary commander sculpture. Think about that. And then you can mix and match. It just really depends on what you want to play. So I will tell you what. On Saturday's stream, we're going to talk about this into a little bit more depth. If you're a player who is getting into Season of Conquest, come onto the stream. Let's talk about the type of gameplay you like to play. And then we'll talk about commander pairs that you might want to consider working on. But honestly, the problem with the system is that you don't get to take a break, because if you skip one of these commanders, one of these wheels, because you're out of gems, because you're out of whatever it is, you're essentially wasting one opportunity that comes only every 2 months, rather than wasting one opportunity out of the 4 in the next 2 months. And so you got to really make sure that you're prepared for the overload that it's going to be, and you got to set realistic expectations. Maybe what is better for you is to still work on the one type of commanders, but make sure that when you spin the first pair of wheels, then you expertise them immediately, and then you stop spinning until the next time there is those commanders. And then in that scenario, you pick a different set of those, and then you expertise those as well. That's another option to go about it. But again, remember, you cannot get to the point where you're essentially saying, oh, I'm a cavalry player, therefore I'm just going to spin the cavalry wheels and then wait 2 months for the next cavalry wheel, and then wait another 2 months for the next cavalry wheel, because it's just not going to end well. Let me know what you think about all this. I'm Gekko. I'm out of here. Appreciate what's going to do. Stop liking this video. Hit that subscribe down below, and I will see you in the next Rise of Kingdoms video sooner rather than later. Take care and have a good one. Peace.